But I've been digging the Bray Wyatt stuff a lot. I had soured on him in that so much time had gone by. They did nothing with him. He would lose and lose and lose and lose. It was a joke. And at one time, many years ago, I thought him and Roman, they were going to be the ones positioned as the two, top stars in the company, and I was half right. And then Bray just sort of went nowhere, and he got injured, and then he was gone for a while. So now they've been doing these Firefly Funhouse segments, and I didn't quite know what to make of it at first, but then I got into it. And then they had the segment on Monday night, and I heard that, things are going to take a darker turn, and boy, did they ever. First of all, I'm very happy to see that Ramblin' Rabbit, Kevin Dunn, is still alive. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was cool, when I read that Tom Savini. Now, Tom Savini, he for those who don't know, he's a makeup and horror effects master. He was responsible, and his team was responsible for a lot of the effects that, you saw in the movie Creepshow, which is an old favorite of mine. I'm dating myself now, but yeah, especially in the movie
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, yeah, that's
Burning.
right. That's right, Dawn of the Dead.
The original Dawn of the Dead, Maniac, the original Maniac. Yeah, he's an OG.
Oh, yeah. And so his team was responsible for Bray's new mask, which does, and I agree, it does remind a lot of people of Slipknot. A lot of people have mentioned that. And who knows, maybe that's a nod to what his new entrance music might be. We'll see. But the director of all the Funhouse segments, this guy Jason Barker, he worked with Tom Savini for about 6 years. He is the one who created all the puppets that we've seen on these shows, Mercy the Buzzard and Abby the Witch and Ramblin' Rabbit. And Savini and his team, they made that mask for Eric Rowan when he came back, not recently, but before that. So these guys have a lot of experience making creepy-looking shit. And as much as I've enjoyed it, and I thought it was great, and I said this when I was on with Wade Keller the other night, I said none of it matters. It all comes down to how they book this guy. Because when he is in the arena, and he's not in this pre-produced setting, and he's live, what he's wearing and what they do, all that stuff matters. And if he comes back and they just treat him like a joke, which is what they were pretty much doing with him before, then this is all for nothing. Because here's a guy who would come out and say he was all dark and very creepy, and then he would lose. So if he comes back and he loses and he's just like everybody else, none of this matters. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Now, do you feel that you have faith in them to kind of do the right thing and see this thing through? Do they realize what they have in this guy, or is he just going to end up back in the same position he was in before?
Jason, not even just them. I mean, let's be honest. Like, when it comes down to Bray Wyatt, I mean, he's basically like he's like a big, giant, nice house that looks beautiful from the outside, but then you get inside and there's nothing in there. It's fucking cardboard. Like, that's Bray Wyatt to a T.
Bray Wyatt's definitely a talent. I mean, he's got the he's got it down packed. They just damaged his character so much. I don't think he's that cardboard. I mean, I disagree with Joey on that. I think he's got talent. He's a Wyndham, Blackjack Mulligan's grandson. His father's Mike Rotundo, one of the best technical wrestlers and underrated wrestlers of all time. I think he comes from a good lineage. I think he wanted this. He's not some ex-football player, had nowhere else to go, so he got into wrestling. He loves wrestling. He's lived wrestling, breathed wrestling. So I think it's just they've damaged his character. But what he's doing now is the best thing about Monday Night Raw. Now, is that saying a lot? Not really. The show is horrible. But his segments are the best. And you're right, Jason. When he gets in the ring, all that stuff is not going to matter anymore, because if they job him out, if this presentation doesn't cut it live in the ring in those arenas, and there's the dead silence that 97% of the roster gets, sitting on their hands, indifference is the worst thing you can get when you're a wrestler. We've talked about this. We all got to agree with that. Indifference is the worst reaction you can get as a wrestler. Boo him, hate him, say, get out of here, you suck. But if you say nothing and you're just like, next, that's the worst. I don't think that's going to happen. I think everyone's anticipating this. I don't know. The thing about what Bray Wyatt, and I'm interested in what you guys have to say, are they going to present him as the normal guy, and this is going to be his alter ego, like a Finn Balor, where he turns into this Slipknot Joker, horror character when he's pushed, almost like the Incredible Hulk? He morphs into this. Is this that kind of gimmick? Does he come to the ring as normal guy and then goes into this mode? or is this going to be what he presents as this evil character? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see the new Funhouse that's coming on this Monday. But I watched the going in. Is he both characters? He said he's able to, kind of keep this character at bay. So this is like the evil side of him. Is he going to be a face/heel, a gray area guy? So I don't really know. I think it's yet to be determined what's going to happen. But I'm excited about it because I'm a Bray fan. I like the whole cult leader gimmick that he was doing. I was a big fan of Kevin Sullivan's cult leader gimmick back in the day. I thought it was brilliant, very underrated in the annals of wrestling history. Bray definitely took from that. If you watch old Florida stuff and watching Kevin Sullivan morph into madness, it was the same kind of thing. Mike Graham brought him back. He was this nice guy wearing sweaters. Then he started coming out and his hair was halfway done. He was wearing stuff on the side of his face, and he started becoming this even though he says he wasn't satanic, he starts becoming insane. So I think they're doing it the right way with Bray, but I'm curious to see, is this a Finn Balor situation? Comes out as one character, then becomes this evil, sinister character when pushed. Faces he heel. Don't know. So I think it's yet to be determined. But I'm excited about it. I think it's something at least interesting that's going on. Lord knows there's nothing else.
Yeah. All we can do is just wait and see what happens. I think we're all, we have a right to be cynical, I think, about what they're going to do with this guy. But it seems like there's a genuine, buzz around him. And you know what? It sucks that your first instinct is to think, oh, they're going to fuck it up. Vince is just gonna fuck it up. And it goes to what I was talking to Joe when he was on before, when he was saying, oh, I disagree. I don't think the roster is that talented. And I disagree. I think that I'm not going to say everybody is going to get over and become a big star, but have there been, and are there right now, even in NXT, people who have the potential to go on to become something big? Yes, there are. How many of them will? Yeah. Probably not many of them. And that's an awful feeling, because just think, in the last 5-10 years, how many people, even if it's just 2 or 3, could have gone on to become a big, big star and didn't, because these people just don't have a fucking clue what they're doing.
But Jason, don't you think Bray is one of those people that should have been a bigger star?
Absolutely. No, and everybody who knows him says, oh, I'm so happy for him. He's such a creative guy. He's taken the reins on this. These are his ideas. He's been very hands-on, and the director said the same thing, and I believe it. I'm sure he's a very creative guy. He's been sitting on his ass at home, and he's probably been thinking of all these ideas. How can I come back? How can I make a big splash? And he is, and that's why I think it's cool, because he's got people talking about him after people wrote him off, I think, as being a lost cause. But you got to follow up on that, and that's where Vince gets his claws into you, and that's where people lose faith.